For many men over 50, there comes a moment that feels far more frightening than weak erections. It's not the body failing to respond, it's the desire itself beginning to fade. Not gradually, not quietly, but noticeably. You realize you don't think about sex the way you used to. You don't feel the pull, the curiosity, the urge, and that absence raises a deeper question than performance ever did. What's happening to me? Most men are not prepared for this. Erections failing can be explained away: stress, age, circulation. But when desire itself fades, it feels personal. It feels like something fundamental has been lost. Some men feel shame. Others feel grief. Many feel confused because no one ever explained that desire and sexuality change in very different ways after 50. After more than 30 years working with men in this stage of life, I want to say this clearly. Loss of desire after 50 is not random, and it is not a moral failure. It is often the result of accumulated physiological signals telling the body to conserve energy, avoid stimulation, and stay in survival mode. Desire is not just a hormone. It is a state of the nervous system. It requires curiosity, safety, energy, and emotional bandwidth. When the body is exhausted, inflamed, stressed, or chronically sleep-deprived, desire becomes unnecessary in the brain's hierarchy of priorities. In younger years, desire feels automatic. Testosterone is higher, recovery is faster, stress clears more easily. After 50, the body operates differently. Energy becomes a limited resource. The brain becomes selective about where it invests that energy. When survival-related systems dominate, desire is often the first thing to be dialed down. One of the most common contributors is chronic fatigue. Many men over 50 are tired in a way that sleep alone does not fix. They wake up tired. They move through the day tired. This is not laziness. It is the result of years of poor sleep quality, stress hormone overload, and metabolic strain. When the body feels depleted, desire feels like an unnecessary expense. Hormones play a role, but not in isolation. Testosterone supports libido, but libido is also influenced by dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with motivation and reward. Chronic stress, poor sleep, and emotional burnout reduce dopamine signaling. When dopamine drops, interest drops, pleasure drops, desire fades, even if testosterone levels are not critically low. Emotional factors also accumulate over time. Many men after 50 have experienced repeated disappointment with their bodies, weak erections, failed attempts, awkward moments. Over time, the brain learns to associate sex with pressure instead of pleasure. Desire may fade as a protective response. The mind reduces interest to avoid the emotional cost of another disappointment. This is not conscious avoidance, it is conditioning. The nervous system remembers stress. When sexual situations repeatedly trigger anxiety, the brain begins to disengage desire altogether. This is why some men say, "I don't even feel interested anymore." The interest hasn't vanished randomly, it has been shut down to protect emotional stability. Relationship dynamics also matter. After decades together, many couples fall into predictable patterns. Roles replace romance. Responsibility replaces novelty. Desire thrives on presence and curiosity, not obligation. When intimacy becomes associated with expectation rather than connection, desire weakens. Another underestimated factor is inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation affects the brain as much as the body. Inflammation alters neurotransmitter balance and reduces sensitivity to pleasure. Men with poor metabolic health, insulin resistance, or ongoing stress often experience emotional flattening alongside physical symptoms. Desire fades not because sex is no longer appealing, but because the brain's reward system is dulled. Medication can also play a role. Many common medications taken after 50, including certain blood pressure drugs, antidepressants, and sleep aids, can suppress libido. Men often accept this as a trade-off without realizing the cumulative impact. Over time, the body adapts to a lower baseline of desire. What's important to understand is that loss of desire is rarely permanent. It is usually situational. It reflects the state of the body and mind at that stage of life. When conditions improve, desire often returns, in a different form, not as urgency, not as obsession, but as interest, connection, and responsiveness. Men who regain desire often do so indirectly, not by chasing it, but by restoring energy, improving sleep, reducing stress, addressing inflammation, letting go of pressure. As the nervous system calms, curiosity returns. Pleasure becomes accessible again. I have seen men in their 60s rediscover desire after years without it, not because they forced themselves to want sex, but because they created conditions where desire could safely reappear. When the body feels supported instead of demanded from, it opens up again. It's also important to redefine what desire looks like after 50. It may not arrive as spontaneous urgency. It may appear as responsiveness instead, as openness, as enjoyment once intimacy begins. This is still desire. It is simply matured. Many men assume that if desire is not spontaneous, it doesn't count. That belief causes unnecessary distress. Desire after 50 often needs context, comfort, and emotional safety. When those are present, the body responds. If you are over 50 and noticing that desire is faded completely, this is not the end of your sexual life. It is a signal, a message about energy, stress, and recovery. Ignoring it deepens the disconnect. Understanding it creates a path forward. Desire is not lost because you're aging. It is quiet because your body is overloaded. When the load lightens, desire often speaks again. If this explanation helped you see your experience more clearly, stay connected with Healthhub. We talk honestly about men's health after 50, including the changes most men were never taught to expect. And if another man you know has quietly said he feels nothing anymore, sharing this conversation may help him realize that numbness is not the end, but a signal asking for care. After 50, sexuality is not about intensity. It is about alignment. When the body, mind, and nervous system are supported, desire does not need to be forced. It finds its way back.